I wanted to kind of discuss why Bitcoin and gold have been down, are continuing to go down so much this week. Bitcoin is down from about 65,000 and it dropped below 60,000, so almost a 10% drop since just started trading this week. Gold itself has been down about 10% since the Fed meeting last week, and it's down close to 5% this week. Techs are also down 4%. A lot of this, I think, is in anticipation of one of the Fed's favorite economic gauges for inflation. It's been said that it's very important for their decision making in whether or not to raise or decrease interest rates, and that's what's called the PCE, which comes out tomorrow morning at 8:30 Eastern Time. It's released by the BEA. It stands for Personal Consumption Expenditures, and so expectations are it's come in at 4.1% year over year versus 3.8% last month, and about 0.5% month to month increase. The core, that means the core PCE, which means trading, it's less volatile because it does not include fuel, gas, or food. That's expected to be 3.4% versus 3.3% in April and 0.3% monthly. Now, bear in mind the Fed's, as we know, their mandate is to keep it at 2% inflation. It's already above it. So, to me, the May data will probably be the peak of the current inflation cycle wave due to the Iran war and oil prices. In May, Brent crude traded above, well above 100. The majority of the time, it was, over 100 and traded well over $110 a barrel. Now it's currently trading at $73, so quite a drop. And WTI crude actually dipped below $70 today. That's almost, I think that is actually at the levels, may even be lower than what it was before the Iran war. So now this could be an aspect of inflation then being transitory. Of course, I don't like using that word because that's what Powell said back in 2021, 2022 when we had that sharp spike up in inflation, and he thought it was transitory, and it ended up not being transitory. And of course, we all felt the effects of food prices almost going up substantially and so forth. So to me, the main reason Bitcoin and gold, like I said before, have been trading lower this week is we're expecting bad numbers from the PCE. So I think it's kind of baked in there. Of course, if it surprises those expectations, then of course that wouldn't be good for Bitcoin or gold. And the main reason is basically if those numbers are high, then we could think the Fed would raise rates, and why raising rates would affect the price of gold. And now possibly I would assume Bitcoin now, since it's been directly correlating now to that. It used to not, but it certainly, what it means is that if they raise rates, that means bond prices, interest rates go up, and therefore it makes bonds more attractive as an asset class versus gold. So that's typically the reason why. In the past, it was always, a long time ago, it used to be if you're going to get high inflation, that would be good for gold prices. So it's a bit different now, and it's been trading like this, where if interest rates are going to go up, gold prices go down, and Bitcoin goes down, probably for the last year, I would say at least. So, at this point, based on the Fed's meeting last week, expectations on Wall Street now are for at least one raise by December 9th of 2026. Now, that's based on a lot of economic data coming out previously that have been a little bit hotter than expected, like the job numbers that came out for May. Came out with 172,000 jobs created. Expectations are only for 80,000. So that certainly surprised Wall Street. Then you had the producer price index, which is another inflation gauge. That came in much hotter than expected. We're expecting 0.7%, which is already a high number. It came in at 1.1%. So that in itself is obviously well above the 2% inflation that the Fed says they'd like to keep it at. So we'll see tomorrow. So I'm going to be really anticipating those numbers coming out. I think it, to me, my opinion is if it does meet expectations, of what they're looking for, 4.1%. And then, this is an instance where I do think, and we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm not sure what the effects of fertilizer will be on inflation, but based on oil prices going down, I would say probably 40% in just this month alone. I really, it'd be interesting to see what happens as the inflation, as we get these numbers in the PCE and the CPI data, and we'll see what the Fed does. This, and hopefully, if the inflation numbers start decreasing, I certainly hope, and my belief is it would help the price of crypto and the metals. So yeah, let's see what happens tomorrow morning. Have a good one.